listening to the AfterBuzz TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your number one source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Gene. Johnson.
The AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California. Presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AfterBuzz TV's Sons of Anarchy After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AfterBuzz TV's Sons of Anarchy After Show.
Hey there, Sons of Anarchy fans. Welcome to the AfterBuzz TV After Show for Sons of Anarchy. This is the season finale, Season 6, Episode 13, A Mother's Work. I'm Matt Lieberman, and joining me on the panel tonight, we have the fantastic Mr. Stephen Lemieux.
Hey guys, good to be here.
Krisily Kennedy.
Morning. I'm in mourning.
I know. And Keven Undergaro is here.
I just have a lot to say.
I know. We got so much to talk about and not a lot of time to do it. An explosive finale. We all knew this was coming, but we had no idea how. We're going to save the majority of the discussion for later, but we have to just say poor Tara has been laid to rest. Tara and Roosevelt murdered by Gemma and by Juice. Shocking.
I have to correct you because she was not laid to rest.
She will be.
She was stabbed, drowned, and knocked out.
Stick her with a fork, she's done.
Oh, gross.
No, it's
I'm speechless.
Yeah.
I know.
I actually...
So brutal.
It's hard to watch.
Twice during this
absolutely.
entire 6 seasons have I physically gotten ill from an episode. Last night was one, and the Gemma rape scene
Gemma's rape was the other, yeah.
Last night, I literally, my stomach turned. I felt the food come up.
Well,
Thank you, Kurt Sutter.
From the
Thank
very
you.
top of the show, Kurt Sutter wanted to make sure that you felt uneasy when he's writing, and then all of a sudden you see this dove in the road, and Jax speeds right through it and kills this dove.
Yeah.
Just an immediate, shocking, senseless bit of violence to prepare you for the violence that would end the episode.
There's no peace.
No peace whatsoever. We got a war coming. We got lots to talk about. So I want to jump in with Alvarez and Nero and this war that's brewing between August Marks and the Black Gangs, and we've got Alvarez and the Mayans, we got the Bizlats, and we got the Asians all gearing up for this war in Stockton and Oakland for control of the gun trade, for control of drugs and prostitution, street gangs. How are you guys feeling? We saw Alvarez had an opportunity to keep things perfectly normal the way that they were. Jax did everything that he could to make him understand that things would not change, and then he killed the Niners anyway. He didn't give a crap. What is going through his head right now?
He didn't like the balance of power. He was insulted that Marks didn't show up.
Right, but would he have killed Marks if Marks had
No,
shown?
I don't think so.
No?
No, I think he would have probably talked tough with him and maybe drawn the line, felt him out.
It's
why you think,
disrespectful.
Krisily, you think he would have killed Marks?
You know what's weird is, it's call me Debbie Downer. I have no thoughts on this because it's the least thing that I'm excited about. Like yeah, there's going to be a war. I understand that. But that whole storyline to me, for some reason, I don't care about. Like, I don't care about
Because
the Mayans
it's not
coming
about any
back.
of our core characters.
Right. Like,
And can I tell
care
you-
so much more about the club and where it stands and where it goes from here than I do about this actual war. And I know that's what's going to bring the excitement and the drama and that element. But, like, even while it was happening and he shot them, it was like, oh, my God, I can't believe he did that. And then it was like, okay, I don't care because this is more important.
Can I forewarn you?
Yes.
That I
please.
think we've all been there before with Sutter's writing where we're like, oh, God, I don't care about
Yeah.
who's this new character? I don't care. And then all of a sudden, fuck, I care. Excuse me, I didn't mean to swear.
Like, look
But
at Nero.
right.
He just showed up
I
out of
always
nowhere.
cared about him, though.
You always cared about him from the first episode when
Loved him.
Gemma
No, I
wakes
didn't.
up in his bed? I didn't. I was like, who's
No,
this guy?
but I did. And I always liked him. And I always was interested in the dynamic of their relationship because it had to do with Gemma. It had to do with the family where this is, it's...
I felt like he came too fast, and like it was. I felt like he was being forced on us, and then all of a sudden,
And then he was great.
I totally got sucked in.
And
So now I know enough to just say, okay, I let Mr. Sutter handle the business,
Yeah.
and I go along for the ride.
I mean, I have faith in Kurt for sure. I have faith in this story because I have yet to be bored by anything in any episode. I've yet to want, feeling like, every show, Dexter had a season that I hated. Every show, Sons of Anarchy has not had that.
No.
at
Oh,
all.
no.
And this is the one time that I can say in all of these seasons that I'm not interested in that one specific storyline.
Okay.
You better get interested because
Yeah, I
know.
they're coming to kill our boys.
know.
That's
Not
the
just-
next season. I mean,
It's a full-on war.
It was well done because they gave it 2 hours. They gave this whole episode 2 hours so they could have that real pacing where it brings back Alvarez. It brings back all these characters that, you don't really necessarily care about, but the fact that they brought them back before the end of the season, it really refreshes your mind as to how they act and how, Jax and Alvarez are friendly now, but I mean, you go back
They
to
were
the history.
enemies before.
Yeah.
But here's my question. Doesn't it make you nervous that this final season is going to be so heavy with all the drama within the other crews that we're not going to get as much Sons? Because that's where my nerves come in. Because
I'm not afraid
Well,
of that.
are we going to be talking about a 16-episode season like we've had in the past?
Where they split it in two, you mean? Where it's 8 and 8?
No, no, I'm sorry.
13
I'm getting
episodes.
confused now.
13
It'd be
episode
13. Okay, so no, my question was, do you think it'll be hour and a half, 2-hour episodes like this year?
I think it absolutely
I think so,
will
definitely.
be.
So then I think, a lot's going to be covered.
Yeah.
I hope so, because that's where my concern is, and I don't want anybody listening to think, oh my God, she's not going to be a fan. I love the show. I love everything it's about. My concern is that because of everything going on, because of what we've seen, I mean, Alvarez is not someone we don't know. We know the Mayans. We've had dealings with the Mayans for the past 6 seasons, and I've always loved that because it was to do with what was going on.
Yeah,
But to me, I'm just more worried that the war is
can
becoming
I
bigger.
can I lay something on you? Here's what I think it's going to be, and Kurt Sutter is a master of taking us to places that we never expected to go. We all thought that this season was going to be all about Lee Torek and how he was going to take down the club, when that was, a minor little speed bump in the grand scheme of
That's all
things.
it was.
It's entirely possible that this war is a catalyst for a far more interesting, intimate story among our main characters and how their allegiance will fall as they're being pulled back into the violence after finally getting out.
We're ramping up this whole series, you guys, and like it or not, those other gangs were integral parts of the series. It has to get wrapped, and
Right.
it can't just get wrapped in an episode or two. It's going to be a long, as we talked about, I think last episode, it's going to be a long, drawn out, ugly war.
Well, yeah. Well, it's I can't remember who says it in the episode. I think it's Borowski, who's like, when you give up the crown, you're going to have peasants and servants at your table trying to take it. So if the whole series so far has been about trying to get out of the gun trade, you need to show what happens when you leave. When there's a power vacuum, violence follows. You look at it in any revolution, any time that a leader dies in an unstable country, there's violence that follows as people try to figure out, can I potentially step in and now be the big dog? And if Jax is going to make this decision, the last 2 seasons, he's been making a lot of unilateral decisions that affect other people outside of this crew.
Right.
And now it's time for the world to remind him that he's not alone in this. And I'm excited for it because especially with this new emotional pressure that he's going to be dealing with, having to raise his sons. We don't know how things are going to shake out between him and Patterson in the wake of Tara's murder. To have this outside pressure as well, I'm very, very curious to see if he will self-combust.
Who's that? Jax?
Jax. If it's going to be too much for him.
Let's save that for after Tara, because I think
Sure.
when we discuss Jax in the future of the next season, it's like there's going to be a lot to go over.
of discussion.
Yeah.
So
And the one thing that I do like in that storyline is the Nero part, because
That he didn't
Nero,
leave?
who I love, is becoming. He's
He
at
got
a
pulled
point,
back in, too.
Right. He's at a point where he has to make some really tough decisions and is being put in situations that he's been trying to get out of so long. So that storyline for me, out of that whole situation, is the one that I care about.
But I
And I'm
didn't
just talking
understand
about
why
the
he didn't
Alvarez.
leave. Alvarez gave him an out. Just go and start that farm you've always wanted to start. And I know Gemma wasn't going to come with
But he
him.
got in the fight with Gemma.
Right.
But he said, "Take your girl." Okay, so there is no girl now. There's no
but
no
he still
person
has a
to go.
son.
Yeah,
He
you're right.
still has a son.
But look at what these characters have all done out of love. When you look at every single character, whether it's Tara, Jax, Clay, Gemma, any of them, their root of most of their decisions, and however twisted way we see it, has all been out of love. And right now he's acting out of love because of Gemma. And so that's what's in front of him. And so that's what's, I think, making
When you
him
say
make his decisions.
rebelling against the fact she broke up with him, so that's why he's doing it?
I think that he's sticking around to see what can work with her and where it can go. I don't think it's yes, I think part of it is when you're at the top for so long, how do you then just walk away from that? No one does.
Well, I think also he's not done dealing with Jax and Jax's many betrayals. Like I think the big headline of this episode, the big theme of this episode and potentially the season is betrayal. You know, Jax tells Juice, you betrayed me. Tara betrayed him. Gemma betrays Jax in the club because she thought that Tara had betrayed Jax.
Right.
It's all about betrayal, and betrayal is such a huge, powerful word. You can't really back away from it easily.
And then they use the word karma as well.
Yes.
So, Kurt Sutter's always said that they're bad guys.
Yeah, it's the sins of the father. It's just always it doesn't go away, guys.
Like the final season is not going to be some happy ending. It's going to be very bloody, and it's going to be very heart-wrenching, because I'm sure we're going to see some of the people we love most killed. I do like with the Brown Loves Brown storyline, we get Nero's right-hand man's kind of getting more ambitious and doing more things now.
Fiasco.
And we've seen him the whole season, so I'm glad that they're kind of pulling him more into the limelight now as opposed to just randomly out of nowhere. And in next season, I feel like he might be a big part in Nero's downfall with Alvarez. Because if there's any loose screws with Nero, it's going to be him going with Alvarez.
It's possible. I think that if Nero tries to back out now, he had his window.
Yeah.
He had his opportunity.
He's not getting out now.
But
he's been on a slippery pole, Nero, from the beginning. I mean, since this poor guy met the Sons, his whole life just continues to crumble. So we know he's going to crumble further next season. The question for me is, we keep hearing what a badass gangster he was back in the day. It'll be interesting to see if that side comes out.
Looks like it's starting to.
Yeah.
Right. Well, he's sitting at the table, but when
he confronted Jax at the boneyard is when we really saw. It's like, don't you lie to me. Don't you lie to me.
Right.
You know, I know what happened. Like an intensity, a ferocity, a barely contained anger that we haven't seen from him before. And it's going to be horrific to see it unleashed.
Which, by the way, being the only girl at the table is damn sexy. Like, damn sexy. The
level of passion?
It was just the way he handles himself, the way he walks, the way that he talked in this episode was by far the best Nero I've seen. Being the only girl at the table.
Hey, you're allowed to have an opinion. We're all equals here.
Well, he just ends up in bad situations. With the Sons, he doesn't really have a say. And now with Alvarez not even bringing money to the deal, bringing just rice, like making the joke about how we have to feed our kids and then killing all the Niners.
Asian rice, by the way.
Yeah. I mean...
That's what it was. I thought that was a
that they threw Chinese food after they killed all the black people.
Yeah, no, it was a message. It was a message from the Asians, like, bring it, guys. Bring it. This is a war. We want you to know that the Asians are responsible in retaliation for when they killed Lynn's uncle.
Yeah. I actually didn't notice that. I didn't notice that it was Asian.
All right. Well, anyway, we have to move on. We have a lot to talk about, not a lot of time. So Tara, she calls her lawyer. She's in this motel. She tells him to come to this park, and Jax and the Sons are hot on her trail. We got Juicy and Bobby in a van tailing this guy, and I'm like, he totally notices the van as he drives off from his office, and I'm like, why did he lead them to her so easily? This is the worst lawyer in the world. He should have known. He should have known he was going to be followed.
We were verbally shouting during this scene.
We were like, come on, guy.
I didn't see him notice the van.
He gets in the car. He looks in his rearview mirror. Big old black van.
He didn't notice it, but he looked right at it. And, I mean, when he's dealing with this, you'd think that he would be on the lookout.
But he's not. But what you're forgetting by thinking that is he's not the last lawyer who knows the Sons, knows the club, knows the history.
He's the new, he's the new, like, he's the new lemming. He has no idea. Yeah, no
but
idea.
It's like, I mean, even when I've done nothing wrong, if I drive past a cop car, I look in my rearview mirror for like the next
But that has a
30
siren.
seconds to see if it's turning around.
That has a siren and says police. This was a black van. Any
I don't
black
know.
van.
Okay, fine. Black van aside, how chilling was it when Tara's at the picnic table with Thomas and she's like, "Look, he's coming." Abel's running. He runs right past her. Daddy. The panic on her face was so palpable.
Oh man, great actress.
Yes,
That scene.
fabulous.
Can I tell you, by the way, that
No.
this is her best season? And I think it's because she knew she was gone. This is her best acting season yet.
She did a really wonderful job.
I mean, she had me. I was scared for her. Like,
Yeah.
it was so ominous when they all came up on her.
And she was just like, "I'm dead.
That's it.
I'm dead
Yeah.
right now."
Did any of you? So for the people that are listening, usually we watch the episodes together, and this
Yeah.
week obviously we didn't because of scheduling conflicts. Did you all think that she was going to die?
I thought she was going to get out of it until Jack said he was going to jail. Because I'm like, they can't take him unless they're really going to do a 7-season set 10 years from now when he gets out of prison.
Yeah.
I had no idea. No idea. I kept going back to what one of you guys had said, or even one of our fans had said on YouTube, which is like, they will never kill Tara because she's really part of the show and it needs to end on, for better or worse, something with Jax and Tara. Maybe they both die together, like Bonnie and Clyde or whatever. So I was just clinging to that.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
then
I actually thought never mind, we'll get there when we talk about her death.
On Anarchy Afterward, Kurt Sutter says that the plan was always to kill Tara at the end of season 6.
Mm-hmm.
He says that was always the plan. I always wanted to see Jax having to live without her and raise his kids without her for the last season of the show. This has always been part of the plan.
We should say this when we talk about her.
Okay.
The death, because
we'll save the rest of that
predictions. Yeah.
bit. Yeah. But
This scene though, like I was pointed out while we were watching it, the cinematography that they made her look so weak, and they vilify the gang with the camera angles.
yeah.
And
low
it was
angle
so well
looking
done.
up at the gang, high angle looking down on her.
When you see them in the
Yeah,
playground, you don't
see
look at them as like members of the Sons. You look at them as like, these are like murderers with her kids
Absolutely,
right now.
yeah.
I didn't see her as weak in that scene at all. Even
She
from
was
the
standing
moment,
No, weak, but scared. No,
Yeah, like-
I mean, I just.
I mean, she stood her
obvious-
ground like, okay, you're gonna kill me,
Yeah.
but she looked scared. I
It's
mean,
a cornered
No,
mouse.
for
Right.
sure she looked scared, but I didn't see it that way. I didn't see them as threatening monsters, and I didn't see her as weak at all. And obviously it's a difference in opinion. We all watch things differently, which
please.
is great. But I actually saw one of the strongest Taras in that moment than we've seen in a long time with them. Outside of the club, she's been very
she
strong
was.
with
You're
the
right. She
lawyer.
was strong because she said,
And-
"Can I say goodbye to the kids?" Like she didn't go into
Right. She didn't
hysterics.
go into hysterics. She
Right.
didn't panic.
True.
She didn't run. She sat and took it like a man.
Okay, so that
what's
means-
going to happen next?
But as
to
an
me?
as audience members, I was weak as an audience member. I was shitting my pants when I saw it.
Oh, for
her.
sure.
The
So that's
look on
probably
his face
She
etched
looks-
from stone.
He was so serious. He was through that entire conversation, right up until that very end moment where he says, you don't have to run anymore." Up until that moment, I mean, I was holding onto the blanket, ready to cover my face that she was going to die in the park. I mean, but it was amazing on both of their parts because he was so stone faced and she was so the fear in her face you could feel.
yeah.
Well, I watched a little bit of it earlier today again. Like we watched the beginning and I got to see. And I like watching the scenes in the beginning and seeing how they play out to help with the end. And in this case, we have Patterson sit down with Jax and she straight up tells him, like, you are a father and a husband
and a man
before you
all
are
this. Yeah.
And you got to make your decision
line.
because it's going to destroy you if you choose the club over your family. It basically.
And
Right,
It's
and
so
what about that?
ironic that the best advice that he's gotten almost all season came from her. Like for the first time, we saw her not be a DA, not be who she is in the world of law, and as a mom who's screwed up more than a few times, be man to man with somebody and say, this is what needs to happen.
Yeah.
This is the choice.
So, Stephen, what was your point?
My point was when you take that scene and then Patterson's looking at her as a husband and looking at her in this light, And then you go to Tara when Jax sits down with Tara, and Tara doesn't see that. Tara sees him as, you are the club first, and you're the husband and the man second,
but then he basically tells her, he takes the advice of Patterson.
Exactly.
What I found interesting was the juxtaposition of Gemma.
Mm-hmm.
Because when
she's cleaning those dishes at the top of the show.
And also, which is foreshadowing because you see it's kind of creepy. But no, when she's talking to Nero, and he says, leave the club, leave your son, and come with me. Like what's first to you? Be a woman, be my wife, be a partner.
Yeah.
First. No. She's like, I can't do that.
Yeah.
I'm an old lady, and it's about the club, which I've always said from the beginning. It's just the club, the sons, that's it. Those kids, that's it for Gemma. She's just gangster bitch to the end. And so that's the difference between her and Jax. Mm-hmm. And that's why I think there's ultimately redemption for Jax. It might not be in this life, he might be offed, but I think there's hope for him because he chose being a man over the club. That's the choice that his dad was trying to make. That was the choice that Clay would never make. That was the choice that Gemma wouldn't make. And
it may yet pay off karmically for him.
Listen, I think it's going to pay off karmically in a big picture way.
Yeah.
Maybe not for him.
It's going to pay off in a really
short
bad
run,
way for Gemma.
But in the long run, I think for him and for his end goal, which most likely include him not living, but he may get his end wish, and I'm pretty sure that is going to happen.
Yeah.
But again, we'll get there when we get to predictions.
Yes. So he and Tara, they come to this agreement that Tara won't have to give up the club, but Jax is going to go to jail as the sole provider of the KG9, wrapping up this school shooting storyline. He's going to take the hit for the club and for his family so that Tara can take the boys and be a good mother anywhere that she wants, and there wasn't a dry eye in the house. It was a really beautiful, moving thing.
It was,
and it was shocking that he was willing to go so far, but at the same time, it's totally in line with who he is, and he totally could have handled 7 to 10 years with in prison, 7 with good behavior and parole, but it just wasn't meant to be.
In that moment, I literally jumped up, screamed, cheering, oh my God, so excited. I can't believe he's doing this. She doesn't have to run. And then instantly in that next commercial break, I sat down and was like, oh, she doesn't make it to the end of the episode.
Wow, you knew.
There was, at that moment,
because he can't
instant,
be put
no
away.
way.
But I thought there might be another writer's device to get him out of jail. That's all what I thought. But I was dreading, like, oh no, please, I don't want to see Charlie Hunnam behind bars for 11 more episodes like I had to suffer through Clay.
Yeah.
I was like, please, no. Please,
but you know what it was for me? It was her
I'm such
saying,
a sap.
No, and I feel the same way. I don't want to see him in jail the whole next season. That would be the worst season ever. He's, he is the club at this point. But the moment that she said to him, I'm ready to die for my children, and then that second moment when he said, I'm being the man you told me to be, it was instant. There's no way she makes it out of this because they're both willing to give up their lives for their children.
So one of them has to.
One of them's gone by the end of this episode.
Oh, yeah.
And that's when I just started to feel sick the rest of the episode.
And I'm so upset that it happened. And like Steven and I, we got to watch it together and we were like, oh my God, is it Tiggy? Is it, Juice? Like who is it? And then we had no idea what was coming. I just need to really quickly talk about iTunes before we move on. Folks, thank you so much for everybody who's reached out on iTunes, on YouTube, on Twitter. We love having a conversation with our fans. It's why we do what we do here at AfterBuzz TV. We put out 60 hours of free content a week, which is a crazy amount. That's over 2 full days. That's 2.5 full days of content. You could do nothing but listen to AfterBuzz TV or all of our shows from a week for 2.5 days. It's nuts, and we don't get paid for it. Do you love this show?
I do even better. I pay to be here.
Yeah, exactly. He pays for the whole thing. But here's the thing. If you love our show and you want to help us stay on the air and get more guests and get set visits and all this stuff, what you can do for us go to iTunes, slap the show with a 5-star rating. Let us know how much you like the show. Give us a sweet review. It helps keep the show more searchable. It helps more people find the show. It helps us get sponsors. It's so vitally, vitally important. So if you want to see us come back next year with the baddest Sons of Anarchy final season recap show you've ever seen, please, please, please go to the iTunes, slap us with a 5-star rating, let us know how much you love the show so we can keep doing it the best way possible. Okay, so we started talking,
Can we talk about the deal? It was interesting that the gavel went to Bobby. Did you guys feel Chibs was initially insulted?
Yes. Completely.
Because he put up with all his crap this season.
And then he was okay with it, or just
he understood Jax's reasoning. It doesn't stop him from being a little hurt, but he understands that Bobby is probably, a good level-headed leader. This is what Jax wants. If Jax is taking the big hit for the club, I'm not going to fight him on it. But I wish that he would have at least taken me aside beforehand and let me know what was about to happen. Because I'm his VP. I should be next in line.
And it makes complete sense when you look at it as Jax, because Bobby has the same vision. He was the closest with his father. He loves the club. He wants everything in the same path, so it makes complete sense. But when you look at it from the opposite side, Bobby left. He chose to leave, and he went for a long time, whether he was initially going because he was just done, whether he was going because he was trying to get more people. Nobody knew any of that. So initially, he's gone. And Chip stepped up and did what he needed to do, and he's been doing what he needs to do and been that right hand for a long time, so of course he's going to be pissed off.
Okay.
But he also knows that it's at the end of the day his decision.
Yeah, it's absolutely his decision. And Bobby did leave, but he was VP before Chibs. He was VP in the last season, season 5.
He's all about the club.
He all about the club.
He went out, he
For
recruited
sure.
people, and he's just got a level head.
He's a good brother. He'll take care of everybody. But at the same time, I'm glad that Jax isn't going inside because Bobby is not the wartime president. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, you're right. No, not the wartime leader.
If anything, I'd like to bring Clay back for the war.
See?
Everybody knows how much I hate Clay. But if it's going to be as dirty as it sounds like it, as it already is looking to be, then Clay's the person I want to head that war.
Yeah. Oh, Kevin got so happy, then he got so sad.
Yeah, no Clay. We really could have used Clay.
That is
I was
interesting,
surprised
though.
not to see you at the burial, actually, when they were buried.
Oh, I know. You know,
isn't
Surprised not to see you there.
Just the demise of Clay and how long the demise was, it's amazing. And just the pauper's death, the pauper's funeral.
Not even a headstone.
No.
Yep, and no one will remember him.
No. Is that crazy? Just shamed,
I love that scene where Unser comes to Gemma and she's like, was anyone else there? And he's like, nope.
Just me and the cons.
Just me and the cons.
Mm-hmm. Fitting end.
Isn't that amazing? And it just, and then for her day, not a good day because she lost him, which had to bother her.
Right.
And then she loses Nero.
She loses Nero.
And then obviously
the club, she's fearing losing the club. And then when it comes to her, with this incorrect information that Tara has betrayed the club, betrayed her son, that her son is going to jail, she can't lose the last thing that she has. I mean, other than Wayne. But here's the thing. And I hate their relationship. I do.
Uncle Cancer? Why?
Yeah,
Uncle Touchy?
because she uses him. She takes him so for
He
granted.
allows her to.
I know.
He does. And she does love him in her own weird way.
I know, but it just bothers me. I wish that he had more
She's so the
backbone.
dysfunctional mother of this club. The way she, she goes from just completely psychotic, but then she does care about in her twisted way.
I mean, look what she's doing with
Juice.
Stupid Wendy.
And Wendy,
Yeah.
right.
I mean, she does have a heart. It's just really dark. But with Unser, it's just he's so damn gullible. And that's, I think, what bothers me the most about the relationship is
He's not
going this
gullible. He's
far-
just in love.
He's
besotted.
No, he was gullible. Can you go get my medicine? I mean, did any of us doubt that as soon as he left the room, she was getting in the car and driving away?
No, not
He's
at all.
gullible, but he likes to think the best in people.
Yeah.
And we get a little bit more background on him too. And they ask him, I think it was Wendy, the conversation with Wendy. He's like, why don't you go? Why is your wife on a boat and you're just doing this? And he's like, because this is the only place where there's somebody else who loves me. And Gemma tells him, I love you. And no matter what capacity that love is in, that is still one person on this earth to a dying man who's in love with him.
You're right.
So-
When you're right, Steven.
I don't know.
No, it's the truth.
Humans are fallible.
It's not the love that I wish that he had because he deserves better, but love is love is love.
So getting back to the breakup of
Her and Nero.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's already kind of a ticking time bomb in this office, and she has no idea what he's been sitting through. But this breakup, I know it's charged, but it feels like two 18-year-olds breaking up.
Are you dumping me?
Yeah.
Who
Oh my
says
God.
that?
We just scoffed at that line.
Who says that?
Okay, here I go, taking up for Mr. Sutter.
You can take up.
Okay, because I think that they are like
I guess.
yeah,
that's
even when they
teenagers.
make out, even like when they have
Yeah.
sex, they're like a lot of those midlife people who just can't give up the motorcycles, and it's kind of gross. But haven't you guys seen that where they still, make out and just they still
In
act like
public
they're
and-
14
I
or
worked
15?
at a biker bar for many
Right,
years.
and they still act like they're 15. It's not just the bikers. It's just there's that certain group of middle-aged people like that still think
Yeah.
it's
But he
eighth.
wasn't,
It's an eighth grade romance.
he wasn't dumping her though.
I know, but that
He
was
was
her.
offering her forever on a farm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Forever.
Okay, no, but she said no. I cannot go. Next subject. I can't go because I'm not going to dump the club, dump my son, dump the grandkids. Next subject.
Yeah.
And he, and he's like, well, that's like.
He doesn't get a word out of his mouth. She's just like.
Well, he says I need a break, and by the way, I need because
for
of Jax.
right now,
and,
yeah.
and so again, an immature person is like, think about an eighth grade. I want to take a break. Are you dumping me? That's exactly what you'd say. And so for me, I felt like that's exactly how it would
And
go down.
kudos to Kurt Sutter for knowing that stubborn women will push like that, because
No.
I am that person.
No,
When somebody's like,
Krisily.
you know what?
No.
I don't want to talk about it right now. It's been a bad day. But what don't you want to talk about? But what happened?
yeah,
but
yeah.
I don't understand.
Yep.
But why can't you tell me? Like, kudos to him for it, because that's exactly how it would have played
Oh
out in
yeah,
my
no,
house.
it's absolutely.
Yes.
Push, 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 push.
It's
Yep.
absolutely what Gemma would do.
Mm-hmm.
I just wish it had gone down another way. It led to the worst thing. The worst thing ever.
Yep.
Jeez Louise, Jim. Ugh. No. Do you think he's gonna come back around to her? Like, I'm sorry for what happened at the top of
They're
season
so
7.
connected. I don't know. I don't know. They're so connected to the opposite sides of the fence. I don't know. Will he? Feels like he'll help her. I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like it's also ironic that Unser parked her car in probably to keep her there. And if he hadn't done that, she would have taken her car, and they would have known that she was in the
So
house.
guess-
Guess, so
It
what,
was all perfect.
So what? So moving.
I had a Breaking Bad moment this episode. Like,
Karma.
I liked it.
There's predictions. Well, I'm trying to save everything for predictions.
All
So
right, all
probably
right,
should
all right.
talk about the
Juice.
Juice's let go. Yeah. Well, Juice is like, you betrayed me, and the way that in that wide shot, Juice just kind of wanders out. Did you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Through
I
the-
thought he'd
through
walk into
doors
the
of
road and get
candy
hit.
store. That's what it felt like.
Yeah.
He was like, interesting though, where that, and then they talk about it at the table. Fill him in. He says to Bobby, fill him in about Juice. So what was Juice about to get killed? Or?
Of course.
I
mean,
think,
you
yeah.
don't. But anybody that betrays the club is done. That's it. There's no coming
not-
back.
you're not
from that.
detached, you
He
just get-
has.
Well,
Yeah.
Juice is already on his strikes.
I don't know
Yeah.
that there's
Yeah, he was-
really a depatching.
Yeah.
I don't know that that's.
Yeah, they're
very
gonna-
Yeah. No, I think
De-scalping,
it was
maybe.
definitely in his future, but it's very curious to me. How is he going to leverage? He can't tell the club about what happened with Gemma.
Oh, I don't know. We're getting into
Is-
predictions. Let's
all right,
just
all right.
stick with it. So,
Well, yeah.
So,
we'll
so
get to that. We need to leave plenty of time for predictions.
exactly. So in comes a Gem, and
And she's like, "What happened?"
I'm so lame, you guys. I'm such a fan and so not analytical about this that I'm like, you know what? Maybe this is where Tara proves she's Gemma 2.0, and she beats this old bitch. That's what I was thinking. Like, you know what? I was like thinking like that's how it was gonna go, and boy was I
that would
wrong.
have been
You know what?
rad.
I hoped to God in that moment that Tara was going to kill Gemma.
I thought
it was the first time I've ever wanted to actually see Gemma die.
But then we'd be right back where we started.
No.
Or put Gemma in a position of weakness. Other than the rape, it's rare that, or when she was beat by Clay, we've never seen her weak with anyone else. And it would have been interesting to see her get beat up by Tara and be like, go into next season, like, you know, again, usually I always look at these things like movies. So, you know, your first act of your movie is your setup. Is your introduction. Your second act is your setup. Your third is your resolution. You can usually tell in the third act whether or not you're going to have a happy ending or a sad ending by the second to last scene. If the second to last scene is something bad happening to the main character, more than likely you're going to have a happy ending.
So you're telling me we're all screwed?
No, I'm saying no. It's actually the other way around because it ended so bad.
This is the third act.
We're going into this is the third act. This is our quote in a
second to last scene.
This is almost our second to last scene because it's the ending bad. It's went this bad. Chances are it will end on a positive note. I still say it'll be ironically positive, but I think it'll be a positive note because it was so bad.
Right,
if it went the other way, if Gemma had won that fight, and beat her down and said, "Bitch, now you guess who's the queen of this club?
Oh,
it's
Tara.
me."
Tara did.
If Tara did, if I'm the queen now, Jax is the king.
It would have ended
You
poorly.
shut your mouth. Then we knew we
Next
know
season
for sure.
would be a tragedy.
So
Yeah.
and again, it's Sutter. You never know how he's going to take things. Generally speaking, in filmmaking, that's an old rule.
Right.
So
Okay. Well,
I just
a
think
vicious death, a knifing to the head. I mean, a carving knife.
forking to the head.
Yeah.
that was super vicious. I think as soon as we found out that if Tara lives, Jax goes to prison, I knew that Tara was dead. So even when I was thinking of how the scene could go, if Tara beat Gemma, I just think it would have been Juice shooting Tara.
Yeah.
Because I think there was no way.
Right. So so in comes Juice and he makes this move. What's he thinking? Why does he do this?
Earlier scene with Juice and Gemma.
Yeah. Earlier scene with Juice and Gemma, they have a connection. She's the only person he has left.
She's almost
She
said,
saved his life.
and she's almost said unconditionally, like, "Hey, whatever happened, we'll get through it."
She's the only other person that understands the Clay relationship. I mean, there's so many reasons.
Here's the other thing. If he thought, I'm a dead man and they're going to kill me, she's the only person that he could convince to help keep him alive. You know, he has this thing over her.
Gemma's the only one that could convince Jax.
He kept her out of prison, and he's the only person.
Alive.
Yeah, and he's the only person who knows that she killed Tara. It is to Gemma's best interest to keep keep Juice happy.
Can I tell you that the
I didn't think about
scariest
that.
part? Sorry.
My bad.
No, the scariest part of the moment for me was, obviously she not only she beats her, she slams her head into the sink, drowns her, and then the moment she grabs the fork, and I know you watched the Anarchy After moment as well, so you heard, I'm sure, the same thing I did, was they purposely did that shot where it's the fork and then her face, and it's the first time that you see Gemma act almost like every other time she's acted in this violent manner, it's been premeditated. She's gone in knowing what she was doing. Everything was a concise moment. And this was a break of rage that she literally did not see or realize what she was doing until it stopped and she fell, and that's when it hit her. And that's when she just panicked, and over and over again, it had to be done, she betrayed, it had to be done. Like
she was in shock.
She did not go into that house seeing that happen.
She did
that was
not
a break.
plan it.
And that's what was scary for me.
It's just she's completely out of control. She's lost grasp of reality. She's so desperate that's all she could do.
The whole time you're thinking, just stop. I mean, she could still. After the fifth, you're like, no, it's done.
Yeah, done.
I honestly thought Juice was just gonna. I mean, I didn't think of what you were thinking that time, where he would use that with Gemma to save his place.
I don't think premeditated. I think in the moment it was just he was calling the cops, so Juice did what he had to keep Gemma out of prison. But I have to imagine that next season it's not going to be lost on him. As Gemma put it, he's not the kind of guy who loses track of things.
Oh, that's good.
She put that early in the episode. He's like, I must have lost track of how many I had. She's like, Juice, you're not the kind of guy who loses track. So,
And there's no way, I guess it's a prediction, I'll be quiet.
And he says, I don't want to die. I just don't know how to live with this.
Let's go to predictions.
Yeah, I say we do. Predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
So isn't it interesting that Uncle Touchy's truck was last seen at the
No,
crime,
not Uncle
right?
Touchy.
Not Uncle Touchy.
Touchy's the one with
No,
the
no,
the
Uncle
hands.
Touchy is Uncle Cancer.
Uncle Cancer,
Yeah, is
So,
Uncer.
so isn't it interesting? He loves Gemma so much. He's dying of cancer. What do you guys think of him taking the rap for the murder? Because it was his truck
I hope
there,
not. I hope not.
and he
but,
knows he's dead anyway.
But
Well,
all
his
the
truck wouldn't have
witnesses,
been there.
all the witnesses are dead. The only witnesses.
well, unless we a neighbor or somebody. I'm
I
saying
thought
that's
that
true.
sees his truck there.
Yeah. It's a small town.
Or they find a tire thing or whatever. I'm just saying it's interesting because he could take the hit.
Yeah.
He loves her enough to take the hit,
and he
he's
doesn't
dying.
have much else to live for.
And here another interesting thing is we've talked about the young girl, why she was brought in. She dropped the bike. Now all of a sudden she's working at the ice cream shop. She gives Jax a kiss
Brooke.
tonight and says, whatever she says. And then we
says thank
see
you.
the homeless lady again. Going by the garbage that Juice just threw all the stuff in. So you bet your ass that homeless lady is coming back next season wearing some of Gemma's bloody clothes.
Oh, absolutely.
Definitely.
Yeah, and that's why they brought her in the first place, because she's going to be part of the aftermath of the whole series.
Yep. She's going to be whether or not she is that girl's mom, she is going to be the person that's going to have the evidence that's going to bring Gemma down.
We
totally
believe,
Brooke's
and
mom.
I'm sorry, guys, but we believe that girl is Jack's little sister, correct?
I
Half-sister?
think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if I believe she's the little sister, but I think that car crash, that woman never died in that car crash, and that homeless woman is her mom. That's what I think.
Yeah. We don't know. I don't know if it's his little sister, but she's definitely in her own way part of the family because her mother was part of this car crash that caused his father to die potentially.
And they
Still
brought
think it would be
so much attention to her in this episode. Like 3 times somebody commented on the new girl. Oh, she's cute. Oh, Jax felt bad.
Well, that's letting the viewers know she's going to stick around.
Oh yeah.
I was happy to see Tiggy's doggy back.
I
that
know.
They rescued.
They saved that puppy from the fighting ring.
I'm wondering for next season. I'm wondering how Gemma is going to
Live with herself.
Yeah, how she's going to live with herself. What the relationship? How much she can tell anyone? Like who's gonna find out? And
I think she lives with. I don't know. I think she's fine because
Does she tell
she's a
Uncle
gangster
Touchy?
chick.
I want to know where Wendy's gonna fit into this.
Well,
What's that?
I want to know where Wendy's gonna fit into this in the final season because she's going to rehab now. But I'm sure like episode 5, 6 next season.
I think
she'll be coming back.
she's taking those kids.
I think
Yeah.
so too. Yeah.
I think she's cleaning up, taking the kids. I think.
She wouldn't have
this
told
is such
Abel
a long
that she was
lead
his real mother for
Right.
nothing.
I think this is such a long lead prediction. Is I feel like the guns, because all those guys are involved in guns, they're all going down. I think August Marks is going down. I think that the Chinese Lynn's going down. I think Alvarez going down, and if Jax does go down with him, which he more than likely will, it's for the greater good to get rid of guns and to free them. I think the club lives on, or Jax and the club is sacrificed for guns. But my ultimate prediction is guns go away.
Yeah.
And I think that's the final part. I think Jax giving his life, that makes sense. Jax and the club going away for guns, that's kind of cool that the club made this mess and then cleaned it up. But it also is a little bit against what Jax's dad was trying to do, which was like make the club legit. So I think that's what you're going to see. I think it's going to be a bad year next year. It's going to be very bloody. I think ultimately all of those parties perish and guns go away. That's what I think.
I'd love that. That sounds like a wonderful finale.
I just had a random thought, and it might be crazy because she has such a huge sense of justice. But Patterson, we're always told that Marks has political ties. I mean, could Marks perhaps have a pocket in Patterson somehow?
Or somebody around her, or more powerful than her, maybe.
Her
'Cause
boss, yeah.
she's still around, and she'll probably be here next season.
And Marks is going to find out what that Jax killed Pope.
Yeah.
and I also
That's going to get uncovered.
Yeah, I also think that Patterson is going to let Jax go because that moment, it ends on Jax, us seeing him the most hurt we've ever seen him, the most vulnerable. She walks in, she sees the situation, and for me, watching her see that, she knew that Jax was not responsible for what happened in that house. And I think that ultimately she's not going to let him go to jail because he had wanted to step up, be a man, do the right thing, save this, and then this is what happened. So that's how I think he doesn't go to jail, because I think she says, you know what, we got what we needed. We have somebody in jail. We have the name, because, I mean, they gave the Irish, the Galen thing, all that.
Right.
And I think that's how ultimately Jax ends up not in jail. And where it goes from there, my hands are completely up in the air.
I love that you brought Damon Pope into this, because what does Nero say to Jax? He says, you know that stuff you just kind of forget about? It never goes away.
Yeah.
It always comes back.
Yeah. Well, Kurt Sutter cut his teeth writing on the Shield. And the thing about that show was everything that ever happened came back to bite the characters in the ass. Kurt Sutter is definitely bringing that back with this series. And I guarantee that anything that was left open-ended is going to come back to haunt our players in the final season. I want to thank you all for an incredible season of After Shows.
Do you think Jax makes it at the end of next season?
No.
I don't either.
I think he gives his life for the cause.
I agree too. Okay.
But for the greater good. For the greater good of the club and the greater good of getting rid of guns.
Hope
Agreed.
Chips makes it, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all do.
Chips makes it. Kevin, where can the people find you?
At Undergaro, and I do Bar Rescue, and I think tomorrow I'm doing this thing, Anatomy of a Movie, and the film that we're going to dissect is Nebraska.
Great. Krisily.
Oh my goodness, I almost just choked and died. You can find me on Twitter at Krisily, and then go check out my Tumblr, The Movie Chick.
Okay, Stephen Lemieux.
You can find me on Twitter at Stephen Lemieux, StephenLemiux, or on the Sleepy Hollow After Show coming back in January.
All right, and you can find me on Twitter at Matt Lieberman. That's MattLieberman. I just joined Instagram, Matty Lieberman. So that's
baby.
Matt Y. Lieberman. I've mixed feelings, but follow me on it. It'll be cool. I'm also here on AfterBuzz TV on Sleepy Hollow, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Almost Human. I got the Betas show starting on Amazon with 2 back-to-back episodes this Thursday, and a bunch of new shows starting the winter, new shows starting all the time, so I'll keep you posted. Thank you guys so much for a wonderful season. You're the best fans in the world, and we will see you next fall. Good night.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Keven Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.